Welcome to the Daily Plunge. We are in the Epistle to the Hebrews, chapter 7, verses 1 through 17. The author of Hebrews has made repeated references to some priest named Melchizedek who shows up back in the book of Genesis. Now, Genesis 14 to be exact. And now there's going to be some lengthy explanation of what the author is getting at. You see, he says is that Melchizedek was a king of Salem and a priest of God Most High. And when it says he's a priest of Salem, it means really maybe not just the place, but that he is a priest of God's shalom. That's really what Salem means. And so he meets Abraham after he defeats some petty kings. And Melchizedek blesses him. It's part of what God is doing to encourage Abraham in the blessing he has for him. And as it says in that verse 2, Melchizedek means king of righteousness. Well, it's not his righteousness. As a priest, he is a king of God's righteousness, really a servant of God's righteousness. And then again, it also says king of Salem or the king of shalom, which is God's right relationship with people, that they have peace with God, that they're at peace with God. And so he goes on to say, even though we think of how great Abraham is as a patriarch, he still gives a offering of respect and honor, a tithe, to Melchizedek, in a sense, recognizing that Melchizedek is greater than him, right? And he talks about how the law requires the people of Israel to give a tithe to the priests of Levi, to the priests that come from Aaron. And yet, as that's true for Israel, Abraham gave a tithe to Melchizedek, who the author is arguing is greater than the priests of Levi. Why? What's at the base of this passage is that the priests of Levi are priests administering the law and leading the people to go through rituals that are ultimately about the law and not about the promise. Melchizedek is uniquely set out as a priest of God's promise. And he is a typology that sets a precedent for Jesus, who takes on that typology and fulfills it completely. Jesus is absolutely the king of righteousness. He absolutely is the king of peace. And so that's why he says he's of the order of Melchizedek. He sort of comes out of that, but then takes it to a whole nother level. And that's why he's sort of out of order priest, because he doesn't come from Levi. Jesus doesn't come from Levi. He comes from this order of Melchizedek, and he ultimately comes from God himself. And so the question for us is, do we rely on Christ's priesthood for the indestructible life, or do we try to work our way through rituals? Well, thank you, my friends. Have a blessed day.